Hey guys, I'm Jayden M and this is how I produce Never Said I Love You, which just released last Thursday. So, a bit of a project overview. This is what it looks like in my DAW. I'm using Logic Pro as well. We start off with these drums, very notable drums. What I'm using for that, I'm actually sampling from Splice. This is a kick that I found. Sounds really nice over this. And then for the snare as well, it's a very fat sounding snare, which again, very pop, which worked very well. Coming into the intro, we've got these horns, which are very notable throughout the track. We've actually got loads of horns. If you have a look all at this, these are all different horns I'm using. All trumpets or trombones that we've got down here. I'm using contact as well as just stock horns. So these ones are down to here. So all of these are actually in Logic itself. And then for here, and all of these. All of those I'm using contact 7. That as well with these falls that I've got. I get that quite a lot. With the horns, they're all going into a delay, and I'm using a stereo delay, which just adds a lot of space, sounds really nice. They're also being saturated really nicely with the saturation knob from Softtube. They're all also going into a FET 1176 compressor, which adds a bit of punch to them. I've got this piano, a pop piano, which I've split into treble and bass clef, and I've got these like... It's very moving here, and the way I did that, similar to the horns, I've got this stereo delay, which gives it a lot of bounce, and I've got this bass clef following, almost following the bass line. It's very slightly altered, if you see. Lots of ghost notes and accents, which give it a bit more movement. What I've got is what I've labelled as my normal bass. I'm using a Contact Scarby J bass, which is a really nice sounding funky bass. And what I've done with this bass, I've added the sub bass underneath it. And I'm actually using a synth sub bass from Alchemy here. And just elevating those really sub frequencies, which make it sound a lot fuller. So that's my intro. Going into the first verse, I changed the bass to a muted one, and what I'm using here, still the Scarby J bass.
That's what they told me.
But what I've done is, to make it sound muted, I've put a high cut all the way going up to, what's this, 512 hertz, making it sound nice and muted. And what's going on in this verse is it's just adding layers at a time. So for the first 4 bars, we've just got this bass.
You only know you love her when you let her go. That's what they told me just before you left. I guess I never believed in cliches.
And then adding that drums. Here I'm using some contact drums. Abbey Road Modern Drummer, really nice sounding drum kit. And I've also separated my kicks so I can sidechain them to the bass. Coming into where we've got this drums, we've got this nice fill. The toms sound really nice on this drum kit. On this kick as well, I'm using a DBX 160, which adds punch once again, sounding really nice. Halfway through, the piano comes in as well.
You know more so, don't know what to do. Never said I love
that sound in the piano, with the blah, da, 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 from this pre-chorus. It's such a nice addition, and I'm actually using 3 octaves here, but it just adds so much. Sounding really nice pre-chorus.
You know more so, don't know what to do. Never said I love you to your face.
Talking about the vocals now, here's how I changed my vocals from this.
You know more, so don't know what to do.
To this.
Never said I love you to your face, cause I never thought I meant it till today.
First EQ is just taking out a bit of the low end rumble, don't really need it. And then a bit of auto-tune, not too much here. I still wanted it to sound quite natural, but I'm not the best singer myself, so I did whack on a bit of auto-tune. Then I go through a de-esser, and for this I'm using the Fab Filter Pro DS, which sounds amazing. Taking off that harshness in there, S's and T's. And then probably my favorite compressor that I've got. It's an LA2A replica from Native Instruments, the VC2A. And it just makes everything sound nice and silky smooth. From that, I go into a channel EQ. And this is just adding a bit of the air above like 10,000 hertz pretty much. And then removing a bit of the boxiness, making it a little bit thinner. And also adding a tiny bit of presence there. I then go into saturation. Once again, I'm using Saturn 2. Sounds really nice. Then go into an echo.
Oh, don't know what to do.
And then we go into reverb. And for what I'm using here, I'm using Space Designer, which is just a stock reverb for my room reverb. And then the more noticeable one, I'm using Valhalla Plate, which sounds super lovely.
But I guess it's too late now, I'm blaming fate.
Adding a lot of distance there. Also, in the choruses, I'm using a vocoder. This is just following the pad. It's almost like ear candy. It adds a strange sound, but...
But I guess it's too late now, I'm blaming fate, cause you're leaving me, oh.
Additionally, in the chorus, I'm doubling everything, so we get the main melody in both ears as well as the lead.
Never said I wanted you that way, and then you looked at me and said you're going away. Oh, I wish I could have traded back those days before.
Which makes it sound a lot fuller. Talking about fullness, if we have a look at this, it's lots of harmonies in this pre-chorus.
So don't know what to do.
I've got these shouts, and you can really hear me straining my voice, so these are really far back in the mix. But they're adding the high octave, and I did them both right up next to the mic, how I am now, and also really far away, just like kind of like a room essence. In the chorus refrain, this is a very brass carried section, and what I'm using here is all contact horns, and we've got these octaves. So there's 3 different octaves that it's playing on, and then these 2 as well. Bit of harmony added there. And then this one, it's a different trumpet as well, so it's adding lots of different trumpets to create a very full sound. Okay, my second verse was where I started to really change stuff up. So I'm going back to this bass riff that I had for the verses. And then the difference here is all in the drums. So I'm using this loop from Splice, and it's more of a trap beat. And I've got that over the verse instead of what I had before, normal drums. So it's kind of changing up the genre a bit, and I think it works really nicely in this second verse where we've got the...
You only ever cared about yourself. Now that I think of it, when have you done something for anybody else?
If you listen to the lyrics of this bit, it's a lot more toxic in a way, so changing the genre up to a trap style created this nice effect, which I think worked really well in this song. Okay, looking at the percussion of this song, if I have a scroll down, you'll see it looks pretty mad. Everything's cut up just to make it nice and clean, since I was recording all of these in my class with an SM58, so they're all with a dynamic microphone, not a condenser. And every bit of percussion that you see in this song is recorded live. So Yuma, shout out to Yuma, he's the drummer in Fourmula as well. Song just came out with that band, Could I Be Next? You should definitely check that out, as well as this one. He played shaker and tambourine and also the bongos for this song. And what I'm doing in the percussion is something called couple panning. It's definitely good practice to couple pan. It adds a lot of width to your mix. So I've got my shaker and tambourine, that high-end percussion, panned fully left and fully right, played by Yuma. And these are all going through to the reverb, same long verb that we're using Valhalla plate for. And then we've also got these bongos sat quite back in the mix, but they do add almost like ear candy, I would say. Recorded in stereo, so we've got the lower bongo here and then the higher bongo on the right. There's probably a better term for that than lower and higher bongo. Okay, then we've got a whole bunch of clicks. All of these are different people. 4 different clicks here, all panned slightly differently, but couple panned once again. And these are just on the offbeats, adding a nice, it's almost like ear candy again. Most of percussion I do is for ear candy and making the mix sound wider and fuller. And we've got that throughout most choruses. In fact, yeah, every chorus. The intro as well, the clicks are in. And then the claps are slightly different. These ones are going the one, da 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 da. The synth solo was probably one of my favorite things to make. It just fits so well, and it's pretty much all improv. And it's just designed with retro synth, and I've called it Jayden's Tropical Synth, or just Tropic Synth, and it sounds so nice in this song. Now, that wobble that you get, it's with the mod wheel. You can see here, it's actually mostly all done live. I don't know if I correct it anyway. It doesn't look like I do. So it's all live, me actually playing it in with the mod wheel at the same time. And it makes it sound so cool, realistic as well. Had to have it in it. It sounds really cool. We also come back in with this added octave. Going back into the final chorus, what I've got in this vocals is still doubles, and I've just taken out all the low end pretty much, as you can see here, to give it this kind of radio vinyl kind of sound.
Never said I love you to your face, 'cause I never thought I meant it till today.
And I did a similar thing with the drums here, taking out all the way up to about 500 hertz. It just makes the drop into that final chorus so much bigger.
Oh, never said I love you to your face, 'cause I never.
And then I can't play the last bit on here. But yeah, added whole harmonies here. We've got 2 different harmonies, plus these ones on extra words.
'Cause I'm just fine without you.
Which don't sound amazing on their own, I must admit. But with the full vocals, they do add quite a bit. It's also, once again, with the vocoder. We have that in every chorus, and it gives it so much texture. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So, thank you guys for watching, and that is how I made Never Said I Love You, which just released last Thursday.